Hi, Forensic Eye. My name is Salman Hashmi from Pakistan, and today we're gonna talk. As you know, we travel around the world and we cover the important issues of the world. So today in Pakistan, Afghanistan is the biggest issue. There was a war back in the days for the last 50, 60, 5, 6 decades. People are killing people. So now, by the grace of Allah, the war has been stopped, but still the symptoms are there. So today we got a very good guest who got an expertise in Afghanistan and American. He's a well-known speaker, and today he's going to introduce himself. Please, doctor, would you like to introduce?
Thank you very much, Hashmi Saab. I am Dr. Munawwar Hussain. I am serving at American Study Center, Quaid-e-Azam University since 2003. And my specialty is American foreign policy, Canadian foreign policy, and foreign policy analysis.
Dr. Saab, Dr. Munawwar is a kind of man who is a brain of Pakistan and who knows how the American thinks. He went down to America to study the American policy, and that's why he teaches. So today, Dr. Munawwar, we're going to talk about the Afghanistan issue. You see that Afghanistan, there's a big problem. People are killing. Every day there is a big happens, and the world resources had been wasted for the last 30 to 40 years on Afghanistan, but still there is no construction. All Afghanistan is a destruction. The money over there has been lost. So the taxpayer of the American, they lost their money. The taxpayer of the world has lost the money. The taxpayer of the Pakistan, they lost the money, and we are very thankful. Today, doctor, could you please explain what is the problem in Afghanistan? Why there is a war every time, you know, USSR, then America, and back in the days, Britain. So what is actually the problem in that land?
Thank you very much, Hashmi Saab, for inviting me in your show. Afghanistan is a very complex country. When I say complex, I mean you would find a number of tribes there, and they always fight for power sharing. You see, okay. Pashtun versus Tajik, Tajik versus Uzbek, Uzbek versus Dari, and Dari versus Baloch, and Farsiban. So it is a very complex. And then always empires and regional countries, they intervened into the affairs of Afghanistan that made it more complex. And as few days back, President Joe Biden said that Afghanistan is a graveyard of the empires.
Yes.
And this is proven again. I mean, it proved
yes,
in the case
yes.
of...
Dr. Munawwar, my question again is very focused. I want that the world order has came now, all right? The world power is telling what has to be done in Afghanistan. So what do you think? What is actually the world order for Afghanistan?
Now, Americans, they tried their level best to stabilize Afghanistan by rebuilding it, but they failed in that. And since they have failed in that, there is a failure of their policy, because there are three major characteristics of their foreign policy. That is competition with China, containment of China, and complexity in Afghanistan. Complexity suits America, suits India. So India is a strategic partner, and they are trying to contain China, Chinese progress in BRI, Chinese progress in CPAC. However, now we are observing some positive vibes from America as well. Now they are not criticizing Taliban, they are not criticizing Pakistan. Rather, they are trying to match the deadline which they have given to the Taliban.
Okay, which is?
I mean 31st August they would have a complete exit from Afghanistan.
Okay.
So now question is that whether Afghanistan would be stabilized or not. I mean, the regional, it goes in the interest of the regional power, especially the emerging powers, which are trying to stabilize Afghanistan for their economic and political and geostrategic interest, because they want to make their multipolarity successful in the world. If they are failed, Afghanistan is a testing case. If it is failed, it means that unipolarity would extend its influence in the world.
Dr. Munawwar, because you are an expert and you've been studied from there, you know, you've been trained from America, and you been know that something in the books, and then you see by your eyes and ears that how the foreign policy make, how the think tank works, the Pentagon how it works, the CIA how it works, and what are the pressure groups, how they talk, how they think, and how they act. As you know that they are controlling the NATO, and as well as United Nations, 195 countries members. So America is a very wise country. It's not that they are from a third world country. They've been planned 50 years before to do anything. Now, Dr. Munawar, as per my perception, maybe wrong or right, we don't know, that America is very intelligent, and the best step Joe Biden has done, that he take an exit from Afghanistan. So how do you see that? Is that American, are they wise or they foolish in this step? Could you please explain?
Very important and sensitive question that you have raised. We need to understand American foreign policy making process. There are four important sources of American policy making. First is external situation, the behavior of external powers, regional countries, situation in Afghanistan, the reaction of China, Russia, Iran, Central Asian countries, Pakistan. So what is external situation? What is external environment? That dictates American foreign policy. Similarly, American society, because American culture, American political system, political parties, different pressure groups, they also influence American foreign policy, that as they did in the case of Vietnam War in 1970s, we observed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Similarly, American government, which you have mentioned, Pentagon, State Department, Trade Department, and other ministries, they have influence in American policy making. And last is American president, because individual has influence in American foreign policy. Since President Joe Biden is a liberal, has a very strong credential of liberalism,
very trained
Democrats,
man.
exactly,
Very trained man.
exactly. So if we see the trends and pattern in the administration of Democrats, we would always find they always avoid major wars. They have surgical operations. They more focus on trade. Okay. Now then, America.
It's a capitalistic society.
Exactly.
You know, people has to understand America. It's not a socialist country. What people are dreaming, they don't want to work. They want to sleep, and still they enjoy the life. So Americans, they are very straight people. You know, if you don't work, you die. You know, if you can't afford medicine, it's better you should die. So American, they are very realistic people. They believe on capitalism. And what have they done, Dr. Munawar, make me right if I'm wrong, that American, they are already planned what they are doing in Afghanistan. So we request Pakistan that, look, we are peaceful country, as the Prime Minister has said, that we are working with the both parties. You see, the Russia and the America, they are both our friends, and we want a strong friendships, and we don't want enemies. So, Doctor, what do you think that what Pakistan should, because you know we living in a third world country, which is Pakistan, and is a step towards the second world. So, as we are very thankful for our army, for our democracy, for our establishment, that they have taken a wise step, and they tell their foreign policy very clearly, very vividly. That was not happen in the last government regime. So now the Prime Minister has done a very good job of Pakistan. He tell the clear message to the world and to America and to Russia, look, we're not going to be interfere in the war. So Dr. Munawar, could you please explain that what Pakistan has to do for this world order? As I explained that China is growing like a dragon, you know, sleeping dragon, and they're working they don't give any statement, they don't do anything, you know, their political bureau, they're the 23 people who are controlling the politics of the China, they are very intelligent people. We are thankful to them that please come to Pakistan and please advise our politicians what to do, what not to do. So Dr. Munawar, could you please explain that what China is planning in this, because you know China is a sleeping dragon. Russia, without using any bullet, they conquered the Afghanistan. They come in their lap. So is it a right prediction or is it wrong?
Let me first answer your previous question, that America is no doubt is a very influential country in the world. Yes. America still is a global power in terms of military technology. It is the biggest economic power in the world at this moment. China is nearby to cross America, but still America, because more than 50% MNCs, they are US based MNCs. Okay. Then you see, but we need to understand that different emerging powers, they are also playing important role in the politics of the world. You see what happened in Syria, what happened in Iraq, what happened in Yemen
Yes.
and in Afghanistan. We are observing that different centers of power, they are exerting their influence in the game.
Yes.
And therefore we say that since different centers of power they are emerging, so octagonal multipolarity is emerging in the world.
Yes.
So America as a unipolar power in the world is no more. American influence is declining. And why it is declining? Because as per Ibn Khaldun, as per John Paul Kennedy in The Rise and Fall of the Great Powers, whenever global powers, major powers, they overstretch, they start declining because of their inept policies. So American interventionist engagement in different parts of the world has compromised American economy and influence. So is the case in Afghanistan. You see,
And Dr.
but you see, second, now Pakistan has a very positive and constructive role. There are three important characteristics of foreign policy of Pakistan. 3 C's. I always say
Yes,
3
three
C's.
C's, yes.
Constructive role,
Okay.
connectivity between regions
Okay.
for promotion economic interest, for creating win-win situation for all countries, and cooperation, generating cooperation. We are trying to bridge between rival parties, you see. Now Pakistan is engaged positive, Pakistan has positive engagement with America, positive engagement with China, positive engagement with Russia, with Iran, with Afghanistan.
Yes.
We are trying to bring stability in Afghanistan because it goes in favor of Pakistan.
Yes.
Because if Afghanistan is stable, we would have a trade with Central Asia, with Russia, with Europe, with Africa.
It's a big market.
So it is a big market.
Yes.
So it also
The 76% of the population, they live in Asia.
Exactly.
You see, it's
Yeah.
not living in America.
Yeah.
So people thinking that everything is American dream,
Yes.
the population is very low.
Yes, yes. Now, your second question regarding China. China is a very wise country, always behave like a wise old man.
Okay.
China has kept its all cards secret, you see.
Okay.
Now, it is evident that China is also trying to have stabilization in Afghanistan in order to make their CPEC and BRI successful.
Yes.
Because CPEC is a flagship program of BRI. Without success of CPEC, there would be no BRI. So therefore, Chinese effort is to stabilize Afghanistan, and therefore they have negotiated with Taliban.
Okay.
And I think, I believe that China, Russia, Iran, Pakistan, Central Asian countries, they are also check on Afghanistan.
Okay.
And we also understand that without their cooperation, Taliban won't be able to run Afghanistan, because running government is a very difficult job.
Sure, yes.
Afghanistan is a weak country,
Weak
weak
country.
institution, weak
And the
economic
population is
institution.
very low as well.
Political institutions are weak,
Weak,
bureaucracy is weak,
Weak.
judicial system is weak,
There is no
security
food.
system is weak.
Yeah.
So, and you see, IMF, World Bank and America, they have seized their assets, you see,
Yes.
and they have stopped giving aid. And without it, Afghanistan, to
Cannot
run
survive.
Afghanistan government, very difficult. So, they need cooperation of China.
And Doctor,
They need cooperation of Russia and
one more
Pakistan.
question in regards to this. You know, when I'm a historian and I'm going to write the history now, because we are in the middle of a history. It's a big diversion. You see, the Afghanistan where the Americans, you know, after 9/11 they came down and they messed Afghanistan. That they were thinking that it has to be punished Afghanistan. Now they killed Osama bin Laden, they killed everybody, all right, they killed Daesh, they killed ISIS, they killed so many people. After this is a mass killing. It's like a movie to me, you know, Doctor, when I see that, look, it happens in the 21st century, that the powerful people, they come and they kill the people without any reason. There is a fault, of course, of one man, but 1 million people cannot be punished for that one man. You know, it's not fair. So how do you think that America they clear their history, that look, they have done a wrong thing and they punish a country, they punish even a continent for that 9/11, and which has got a controversy, conspiracy theory, as you know, that we are not saying that. There is a 9/11 movie, Fahrenheit 9/11 is a big, you know, there's a very good guy, he's an American guy. He published a movie, and the half of more than 50% of the more than 50 they believe on that movie. So, but the real movie of America, that the climax of that movie has been finished in Afghanistan today, Dr. Munawar. So, how do you think that what people gonna think, the young generation, how they can build now that look, America has come. They take the land resources, lithium, they've taken the heroin, the drug, they taken all the things from the Afghanistan, and there was no accountability. So what Afghani people are getting in response to that, doctor? Can you please explain how the what the American school of thought thinking for that argument?
Look, there is a complete American foreign policy failure in Afghanistan.
Okay.
Not only American, but Indians as well. The most defeated nation in the case of Afghanistan is India.
Okay.
Now they claim they have spent $3 billion. However, they have spent more than $17 billion. They established terrorist network. Listen,
that's true. That's true.
Terrorist network against Pakistan.
Yes.
And therefore they established 5 consulates. Had they not indulged in such activities, they would not have closed their consulates as soon as they did in the case of Afghanistan now after Taliban coming into power, into Kabul, you see.
Yes.
So Americans' failure, because Americans, there are number of narratives you would find. Some people, they would say America came in Afghanistan to keep an eye on China, on Iran, on Pakistan, on Russia. You see, they came to plunder the sources of Afghanistan, but their claim is that they came to rebuild Afghanistan. And at the end of 19th century, beginning of the 20th century, Americans, they indulge in rebuilding nations. At least we have examples of 16 nations, and out of 16 they were successful in 4 nations, you see, from Europe to Asia to South America, you see. So now Americans tried their level best to reconstruct Afghanistan, and so they funneled billions of dollars in Afghanistan. They constructed road, they rebuilt their army and so on and so forth, but they failed. And now why they failed? Because always you find these are the states which are fragmented states.
Yes.
You would find a rivalry among different factions which are fighting for power, you see.
Okay.
And then weak, as I said, financial institution unable to absorb aid and corruption, you see. And because of tribe system,
so doctor,
there was lack of nationalism in Afghanistan.
If you don't mind, I can say that this is a fraud war of 23 years. Can we say that?
You see,
the
statement, yes. Always our Prime Minister says that, and one of the, I remember Danish Prime Minister also said this, that I am surprised why nations, they go for power-based policy instead of resolving their issues through dialogue, through mediation, you see.
Yes.
Now, what is the problem with American foreign policy? People in our part of the love, they love America.
Yes.
They love American culture.
They love
American political system. They love American economic system. You see, we love to drink Coca-Cola and Pepsi. We love to go McDonald's. We love to watch Hollywood movies.
Yes.
We love to have American education. But what is the problem? Why people they talk against America? Because they have grievances against American power-based policy vis-a-vis the Muslim nations, you see.
Okay.
And this generates resentment. And there is a Pew research in 2004 in Middle East. Now, Middle Eastern people, they said, we love to have democracy, but these are Americans who are supporting dictators in our part of the world. I was in Seattle, you see, in 2006. When I told one of the American family that America has a power-based policy in our part of the world, they were surprised, they were shocked. We are the most benevolent nation in the world, and how come our government is doing that? You see?
No, so Dr. Munawar, you have explained very well. Now, after the Afghanistan, we are going to Syria. You know, there is another camp of American. They are fighting over there, and the people who are dying. You see, so people are dying with no food, with no nothing. When I see the pictures, and the media is also banned on Syria. So, how do you think that America is planning to wind up all the wars, and they have think something else, do you think?
Yes, there is a shift in American foreign policy.
Okay.
From unipolarity to multipolarity. One, they want to take their allies in confidence. And it is the pattern of American history, a pattern of their behavior. They always changes their allies as well. Sometimes they would have a Western countries, sometimes India, sometimes Pakistan, you see, changing there. Now, what is shift? There is a consensus in American politics and political parties. They are shifting their focus from Middle East to Southeast Asia, to Far East Asia. Therefore, they have established Quad, you see, including India and Australia and Japan and other countries, you see, to contain China.
And
contain China, yes. One. Second focus is they are more focusing on their internal issues. If you see the debates of President Biden during election campaign, I mean, Iran was on the 17th number in the agenda of discussion. You see,
Okay.
so domestic issues dominates American politics.
Of course.
COVID-19,
Yes.
unemployment, you see poor performance of economy.
Financial performance is down,
exactly,
you see.
exactly. So to rebuilding America is a big task for the Democratic administration in America. So they would focus on it, and therefore different Republicans, they are criticizing that
So now, Doctor,
this number of
yes.
Black Hawks in the hands of Taliban
Dr.
and so on
Munawar,
and so
do you
forth.
think that Pakistan, what Pakistan has to think in that situation, and as our Prime Minister has said, we need a peace, and we are a peace forward country, and our army, our establishment has done a clear message to the world that look, Pakistan is a weak country, we can't afford to have a war in our neighbors, and these neighbors can mess our country. As you know, for the last 30-40 years, Pakistan has been a symbol of terrorism, you see, so by these so-called Afghanistan. So now the people, the refugees, they have got no home, no nothing. Who can ever pay the money? They can do anything without any thinking. So, doctor, in that situation, do you think that Afghanistan people are still vulnerable? If somebody like India, like some other countries, they can sponsor them and they can harm our country, Pakistan, and what we have to do to counter that thing?
Two things. One, regarding Pakistan, in terms of influence, if there is a power in the region, that is Pakistan. And one of American foreign policy expert, Hafiz Malik, distinguished American professor of American foreign policy, he has written a book and he said, in terms of influence, if there is a power in the region, that is Pakistan. And evidence is that many presidents and prime ministers now called our prime minister, from Putin to Denmark to United Nations and others, UK Prime Minister as well. One. Second, yes, Afghanistan is vulnerable, but the statements are very positive which are coming from Taliban and giving hopes. The promises that they have made with the regional countries and with the international community that they would not let Afghan land to be used against any country.
Terrorism,
That is
yes.
very, very
That's very,
positive.
very
You
bad.
see.
Yeah.
Now it is the responsibility of international community and the regional countries to help Taliban to have an inclusive government, representation of all tribes of Afghanistan in the, whether they
Yes.
are Tajik or Uzbek or Dari or Baloch, you see, and then they would have a very stable Afghanistan goes in the interest of America. It would not generate terrorism.
Yes.
It goes in the interest of Pakistan and China, the regional countries, because through stability in Afghanistan we can promote our economy. And Pakistan, I believe that stability in Afghanistan would give take-off position to Pakistan in terms of economy.
And we request to the world powers, as the Dr. Munawar has explained, there is the polar powers and there are so many big giants. They have the power of the world. We request them that please come to Pakistan and help to build the Afghanistan. So there should no problem. Afghanistan, there is a serious issue of the food, the medicines. As you know, there is no wheat, there is no issue, there is a lot of issues in Afghanistan. And we request America, we request China, we request Russia to please come and help these Afghani peoples. They are our brothers, they're living by our neighbors. And Pakistan is a poor country. As you know, we have got limitations. We cannot support, we cannot afford, but we are trying our best. So at this time of the world, we request to the whole world that please come to Afghanistan and try to build the Afghanistan on its foots back. And if the Afghanistan is secure and is stable, the world is stable.
Exactly.
And because so many people, so many world powers, they messed Afghanistan. Now it is the responsibility of them to please come and help them and to build Afghanistan. Otherwise, if they left like this and they run away and they steal everything, then what will happen? Dr. Munawar, could you please explain?
Yes, domino effect. You see,
Yes.
declining of one region would lead the decline of the other region. If Afghanistan is not stable, it means South Asia and West Asia and East Asia is not stable.
Yes.
If their economy and politics and society is not stable, it means the world would not be stabilized.
Yes.
You see, so therefore, it is the responsibility of international community
It
to
is,
protect
yes.
sense of
Yes.
international society.
It is the responsibility
These are
of the
after
Americans
all
now.
human beings.
Yes.
Are human failures.
Yes, it is the responsibility of the American government that they have to build the Afghanistan which they have messed, for 21 years. and all the world is looking at them, Joe Biden, and there is no more war. You know, we request to the whole world that please stop the war, stop killing people.
Hashmi Saab, let
Yes.
me give two things to America. Number one, either American wants to prove Afghanistan as a death knell to their global leadership, or to be an opportunity for learning a lesson that from a distance to help Afghanistan by promoting and encouraging them to bring reforms, keeping in view the local traditions and customs and culture and history. You see, disengaging from Afghanistan or other instabilized countries and weak countries means to pave the way for terrorism there. So therefore, in order to stabilize the world, it is the responsibility of all global powers to help Afghanistan in bringing reforms and in bringing stability
Yes,
in
and
Afghanistan.
we are giving a clear message to the American intelligence, to the CIA, to their Senate, to their Parliament, and to the House, all the political houses, that please build Afghanistan and create a peaceful world for our next generation who gonna live. Otherwise, the history will write at this moment of time. I'm sorry, I apologize that there was a fraud war, there was no real thing, it was all fake, and the behind motive was different. So it is the time for America to come and rescue the Afghanistan, and it is the time for China, as you know, as it's time for Russia to come and rescue the Afghanistan, as well as the Iran. They come and rescue. And at the end, Doctor, would you like to say anything about forensic eye? How do you feel that?
Oh, thank you very much, Hashmi Saab. I mean, it is a very good forum for generating a debate. And you see, debate means to discuss different narratives, and by looking at evidences, you have to explain the situation, current situation in any part of the world. This is a good forum. I really appreciate
this. At the
this.
end, we are very thankful to Pakistan. We are very thankful to our Prime Minister, to our army, to our establishment, to our political leaders, our think tanks. They worked very well, and we guys, we clap for you that you have done a very good job in Afghanistan, and the war has been over. The world, the next generation can see a sunshine after a very, very long time in a dark corner. God bless you guys. Have a nice day, and keep contact in Forensic Eye. If you got any problem or any fraud which has been done with you, please come and tell us. We are not afraid of the world. We're gonna tell the truth to the people, because we are creating Pakistan is a true nation. They talk straight, they think straight, and they see in your eyes straight, and they're not afraid of anything. Pakistan Zindabad. We love Pakistan. God bless you.